Hi, welcome back. And I'd almost argue this is one of the most important lessons in this series, active recall. And in particular, active recall made easy. So in this session, I'm going to go through my top 3 active recalls that you can use and revision techniques that are really, really nice and simple to use. So first of all, what is active recall? Well, you know what? It's one of the things I say to my students all the time. How do you know it? And the best way to check you actually know something is to test yourself. And this is known as active recall. It's about pulling that information out of your brain rather than just trying to stuff things in all the time. So here are my 3 favorites. My first one, and this is a big, big favorite of mine, it's known as blurting. It's also sometimes referred to as sort of brain vomit. And the whole point of doing this is just to section off a piece of paper. And again, you don't have to go away and buy nice resources for this. It can just be a bit of notebook paper. And what you do is you decide about a topic. Now, don't do a massive blurt. I'm not talking like the whole of paper 1 chemistry. Think about something really simple, something as simple as bonding. And from bonding, write down everything you can recall about that topic from memory. So all the different types of bonding, ionic, covalent, metallic, what they involve, see what you can write down and do it all from memory with your books closed. And then this is the next really important bit. What you now need to do is go back over and in a different colour pen, doesn't matter what colour pen it can be, but as long as it's different from what you had, check and correct. So from what you originally blurted down and you did on your recall, go through and check and correct. Did you say that metal ions are negative, for example? That would be incorrect. So change it, mark it yourself, mark your own work. And then were there any key items that you forgot? And you put that in that other little panel there. The what did you forget? What key information did you forget to write about? And then once you've done that and you've gone back and corrected that, in every revision guide, and I'm sure your teachers will have given you hundreds and hundreds of practice questions in your exercise books. I've always got questions all over the place. Have a go then at some practice questions to test your knowledge and exam technique. Not just the fill in the blanks types though, because all they're doing is testing your recall knowledge. Do you know facts? Try having a go at some of those apply questions, those ones that really, really make your brain work that little bit harder. This is really, really good because it is really making your brain work hard. You are trying to see what you can remember. So it's a really, really nice, and it's quick. That's the other thing. Blurting is a nice, quick technique, and I'll talk about your timing and how long to spend on revision in a later session. My next favourite is flashcards. Now, this isn't just about making the flashcards. Flashcards are great, but if you're one of these types of people, I'm one of them. I don't like actually making the flashcards. I prefer just to use them. You can have a little look round. You can purchase ready-made flashcards. You can download ready-made flashcards. There's all sorts of resources out there. There are some freebies that I know about as well. So you can either make them yourself if you like to make them, but the whole point is it's not about the making of a resource, it's about the using of the resource. And loads of people make flashcards and they then just look at them and then look at the other side and then you're back to reading. And as I've already talked about in an earlier session, that's really passive revision. You're not really working your brain. So what you do is you get your stack of revision cards and don't get everything out. Again, just get one topic at a time. Read the question, say the answer out loud. When you say the answer out loud, you are committing to an answer. Or if you're a bit on the shyer side and you don't want to commit to saying an answer out loud, have a little pad of paper beside you, write the answer down. Then when you turn the flashcard to see if you've got the answer right or not, if you've got it right, move it into a different box. If you got it wrong, put it to the back of the pile. And then as you move on, idealistically, your pile of flashcards are the ones that you don't know are the ones you're going to revisit the most. So then when you look at them again, say on a Tuesday, and you get them right, you shift them over into Friday's box. But if you got something from Tuesday wrong, you put it back so it's in the pile, so it's one of the first things you're going to see on Thursday. So then what you're doing is lots and lots of repetition on things that you don't know, and the things that you do know have moved into another box. And that's really, really good. It's spacing the revision, which again is a great memory technique as well. And you can look to revisit them either tomorrow, next week, next month. A little thing that people with flashcards can fall into a false sense of security, especially if you're making them yourself, is you make some of the questions too easy. So that's sometimes why it's really, really good to go and download some to get examples of what good looks like. I will try and upload some into the Hickling Hacks Learn as a free resource, as an example of what good looks like, especially when you're trying to use ones with the apply and evaluate questions, not just the recalling of standard fact recall knowledge. So once you've done your blurting and you've done your flashcards, what's your next stage? With active recall, big one is having a look at exam style questions. So once you've been building yourself up, have a go at actually applying them to exam style questions. You can find every single past paper for free on the AQA website, on the OCR website. They have them all. The only ones they won't have are the most recent exams. Those are usually kept under lock and key so that schools can use them as controlled mock exams. So you should have access to everything up to 2024. 2024 should have just recently been released. If it's not been released now, it should be released into the public domain around sort of September, October time. But you've got all of them. And I'd even go cross-exam board. Once you've exhausted all of the exam questions, you will find we're not very original. We will repeat questions. Once you start getting into the style of the application and evaluate type questions, you will see they are very, very similar, and this will really help with your exam technique. The other one just to be wary of is, I know there's lots of online testing resources out there. They're great. However, when using a mobile device when revising, the temptation to go and look on social media, to go on to other things is really, really high. I personally would say try and avoid using your mobile device as much as possible because you have that temptation. You may well have done a chemistry Kahoot or a chemistry Blooket, but then you've got that temptation to go and look at one on flags of the world or cartoon characters. So they have their place. They're really, really good, but also they are very surface level learning. The way that the questions are structured and the way the games are structured, again, it's great for building confidence. It's really good for getting you engaged. So if you are starting a revision session, you just can't quite get into it, yeah, go play a Kahoot. But really, really importantly, make sure you find ones that are made by teachers. There are filters on these that are made by people who are teachers or tutors. Some of the student-made ones can have lots of mistakes on them. So double check that if you're using some of these online resources. And like I said, they do just give you that sort of very much, do you know that group 1 metals form 1 positive ions? It's very much a fact recall type thing there. You're not getting your apply, you're not getting your evaluate type questions. Lots of you might have noticed that I've left out mind maps. Mind maps, I think, have been done to death. Everybody says, go write a mind map on this. And mind maps, they're good if they're used properly. If they are effectively just you copying out of a revision guide and then being stuck up on the wall because they look pretty and you've used all your pretty colours, you're back to reading. You're back to passive revision, not active revision. So mind maps aren't meant to be this pretty bit of wallpaper that sticks up on the wall. If you're going to do a mind map, use it as a form of blurting. So in your little blurting section, mind map as a blurt. So keep your book shut, see if you can do a mind map on a topic, blurt it out, then in a different colour, fill in the forgotten bits. So like I said, don't then put it as a poster up on the wall. It really does just become wallpaper. I've seen students so many times bring me all these beautiful mind maps that are just stuck in a folder. And how are you using them is always my question. How do you know what's on that mind map? So a really nice way, if you're going to do mind maps and avoid it becoming reading, cover up a section. Cover up a section of your mind map. It could be with a post-it note. It could be just covering it up with your hand and then on a piece of scrap paper beside you, try and see if you can write out that mind map, that section, not the whole thing, just the section, and then check, correct, improve it. So which bits did you forget? And if you did forget it, make a flashcard on it. Or if you did forget a certain bit, write it on the post-it note that is now over the top of that bit of the mind map. So then all you end up with is sort of post-it notes or stapled bits of paper or whatever, just covering the bits of the mind map, and they only then focus on the bits you keep forgetting. And eventually it should be completely covered because you know it all. So like I said, I did deliberately leave out mind maps because they can be a bit of a slippery slope back into reading again. So please make sure you avoid it. So like I said, it's not just the making of the resource, it is about the use of the resource. Active recall, if you're doing it right, should feel so much harder than just reading. And that is the point. Your memory is a muscle. Okay, your brain is a muscle. The more you work it, the more you will strengthen it, the more you will have that information to hand, and then the easier things will feel. So that's it for active recall. Hopefully that's given you a few go-to suggestions on how to revise. So you've got a little selection there to use from, and I'll see you in the next session.